looking over at the other team, looks like they have 5 skinks they're walking in with, and a full regiment of Sorai that all have block. One particularly nice-looking Sorai, Punisher, has Mighty Blow. That could be very dangerous to a Wood Elf.
If he managed to hit the guy.
Yeah, we're already up and running. They're going into inducements, and I think that Hez actually is walking in with a handful of petty cash. It would be at least enough for a babe. Oh, he cashes out for a babe with his with Reptile Dysfunction already on its last legs here. Been committed to the farm that they are being replaced coming into next season.
That'll be crazy if they win the MML championship and then Hez just discontinues them.
Well, it wouldn't be all that strange. The season 2 champions, Cold Hard Truth, almost had that exact same thing. That
you're right.
that they were basically on their way out, and the championship was probably the only reason why they actually came back for season 3. That they felt that they had to defend their championship, and in season 3 they did quite well too, and it was just one of those where that was their time. That's the distance that they got for being in the pros, and we've seen them since reappear in the Age of Sigmar competition, and they've been struggling it out in there against Bruta and the Vile Chaos or regiments.
I think that season or MML champions are never completely gone. Those teams are always the possibility of showing up in some way.
Just heads up, guys. Just heads up. We are in the game setting up our players.
Yep. Already tuning in on my Cabal Vision satellite.
So I believe we have 3 announcers for this one. I didn't catch the name of our third one, but if you're over there, definitely but by all means, force your way into the conversation every now and then, because me and Jess, we tend to never shut up. So
we got words for days. By the way, I want to commend Bernie. All right, feel the burn first of all, because Bernie just joined the MML today. He is a recruit from the Champion Ladder. It's a shout out to Preach, who doesn't think that we actually recruit anybody from the Champion Ladder. But I played against Bernie in the Champion Ladder. Bernie was asking about, what are some good private leagues around. I recommended the MML, and so he joins today, and right away he's announcing the game. So I want to commend that kind of, just jump in head first into the deep end of the pool and get your feet wet, get your whole body wet instead of just your feet. Welcome, Bernie.
Wow.
That's even more dedication. My man stayed up to go into MML After Dark. By the way, beware, because in the MML After Dark is when the crazy stuff happens. This is the stuff of legends. When Baldric Smutzers really come to the forefront of the league, Red Panty Night gets kicked off, sometimes Purple Panty Night. You never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, I believe they've actually had the last Red Panty Night now that Conor McGregor is going into retirement. I don't know if they're going to continue the Red Panty Explosion nights anymore because of that lack of explosive attack ability there. That they may actually have to retire that with the loss of such catcher.
The chat saying
it's a real shame.
The chat saying Bernie's not coming through. If you guys could walk him through getting his chats fixed.
So yeah, Bernie, you got to go into your party settings. So if you go into like the the little icon on the in the PlayStation menu where it says for party, right, and look at your party settings, there should be a little checkbox that says allow voice to be shared. If you don't have that checked, nobody's gonna be able to hear you.
Good news.
Yeah,
the most attractive skink on the field just got the ball.
The most attractive skink on the field is also commonly referred to as skank.
Well, yeah, that too. That too. But I mean, it's a pretty good-looking skink.
Way to start off the match. Tlon of Don setting the pace and knocking out the journeyman Barathram. Don't have to pronounce that anymore because he'll be sleeping for a while.
Yes. It's always good when the loners go to sleep early. Leaves more time for the fun parts.
Yeah.
So what we're looking for the star players from both teams then, guys? For the new guys around? Which are the key players?
Oh, so you're saying any players that need to be called out by name?
Well, here comes one of them. The Punisher's coming up. That's one of my farm products. And here he goes to work. See, I've seen this man do this over and over again. This Sorai is bloodthirsty. So if I'm the Wood Elves, you might want to just go hide in the corner because the Punisher's coming for you.
Poor Triera Horror. That man has trained his entire life just to get his one shot, his one unlikely lotto ticket to actually set foot on a Blood Bowl pitch and play for the famous pro White Owls. And on the first play, before he gets to do anything, the Punisher comes over and puts him out for the rest of the game. So his Blood Bowl career over just as quickly as it started.
He's probably going to be famous, but it's just going to be because he's going to, appear on next season's playing card for the Punisher. Farm stars, former pros, the Punisher. Speaking of stars and pros, we're going to get a little bounce house on the tree here from a skink.
Ooh, chopping wood, but it does not split. It's looks like White Tree is more oak than bamboo.
Well, and that was a 9+ attack there. Skink wasn't able to even get really close, but that's way better than a normal attack on a tree. A normal attack, something like a 10 or 11 plus. So definitely had a little bit of a numbers advantage on the tree. But with that plus movement, getting that tree up to movement 3, doesn't have to roll for the stand up. So tree is instantly up. Oh yeah.
And the revenge is coming against the skinks. They don't like them. The skink turning around trying to foul the tree. And Monday of Goal's going to catch a little backlash there. A little back roundhouse kick coming from Del Gallio.
Yeah, and I really hope that skink stays around for the entire game. I can't recall another player in this league that has the Hail Mary pass ability. It's just something you don't see, and I think it would be an amazing kind of bowing out of the league for them to be able to use that ability and be the first ones to crescent it into the league and just kind of show off that they're not afraid to try something different.
I gotta admit, I really do want to see that Hail Mary in action. I also want to see the diving catch come into play of his teammate Seriously Jesting, who is a diving catcher, so he could actually have a completion off a Hail Mary.
Yeah, and it's just one of those where it's a fun little combination of skills, and I don't think anybody really anticipates it being all that effective in that, but it's a real showman quality kind of a thing, and it's always fun to see things getting tried and different stuff going on. So it's a fun combination, and it's not something you're going to see on most teams.
By the way, so I think Bernie asked about, potential stars that the players may recognize. These two teams are pretty famous in the MML, as usually happens when you make the playoffs. Somewhere along the way, you've made some fans. I would say that the star player for the White Owls is sitting back almost in the wide zone. His name is Sornerd over there. He is a very fast catcher. Very close to a pure one-turner, but definitely a legitimate one-turner. He just needs one push to make it all the way into the end zone on one turn. But Sornerd is actually the MML's leading scorer, having set the MML or tied the MML record at 11 touchdowns on the season.
Yeah, he just got uncovered. His loner cover player just got slapped by Punisher again. Punisher putting in work. 2 blitzes in a row and 2 successful armor breaks.
Are they still have loners left? I thought all of them got cleared out on the first turn.
No, they came in with 3 of them, and 2 went out in the first turn, and in the second turn the additional one got put down. So the 3 loners they came in with have all been taking armor breaks fairly early. So
showing his stint in lumberjack school goes to work on White Tree, and he's going to put White Tree out for another turn.
Yeah, it's a solid stun, and that's going to take away that presence right there in the middle for the next turn. The lizards may have the opportunity to move this cage forward and out of the grasp of that tree now.
On the other side, by the way, for Reptile Dysfunction, I'd say their star, which is funny because he's only been in the league for 3 games now or something. It's 1, 2. This would be his 4th game maybe. That's his 4th game. Is Seriously Jesting, who finished the season with actually as the Noble South Conference's scoring leader, only having played 2 regular season games with 4 touchdowns. Seriously Jesting. He is the Reptile Dysfunction star.
Yeah, and that was one of those where I believe in his first game he had a hat trick of goals, and it's just one of those where after a player does something like that, has that kind of performance, it really starts to shine a torch upon them, so that everybody kind of takes notice to the player rather quickly. So it's one of those situations where he doesn't have the ball yet, but you have to imagine, at some point in this game, you're going to find that ball in his hands, and most likely heading towards another touchdown. That he's not very cautious as far as standing back and taking turns. He'll grab the ball and go immediately to the end zone, even if he has to pull a potato at some point. So definitely keep an eye on him. And the star catcher is now under fire. Mighty blow attack, and that will put a tackle zone on the War Dancer. Something that people may want to take a quick note of. This team is actually down one War Dancer, and they've been playing so for a bit now. Mainly for the reason that the transfer market's going to be coming up for them, and they want to save money and not spend it on a War Dancer now that they have I believe an AG5 War Dancer picked out for the upcoming season. So they're taking a long-term approach.
Shots. Well, I mean, what do you think about that? I mean, I understand the whole saving money for your transfer that you really want thing, but I mean, if you're a team in the playoffs, I think at that point you really got to sell out. I think it's a bad idea, and we saw Dignity do it last season. It didn't work out well for them in the finals. They walked in with gold bloat into the finals, and I think that if you've gotten to the level where you're this far in the playoffs and you're worried about, mortgaging for next year, why? Focus on your championship this year. How many people get this far? How many teams get this shot? You may never see this shot again. You might as well double down, put everything you got on this.
Well, I think right now you're really looking at 2 teams that are coming from different worlds as far as where they're going. Reptile Dysfunction has nothing left to go for. That they are being replaced with, I believe they're being replaced with a Necro team coming in next season. So that's one of those where, like, as far as these Lizardmen, they're on borrowed time. So they came in, they spent a little money, they picked up a wizard. They're making the playoff push now. Where the Wood Elves, with it being a long-term season, the Stu is trying to manage his gold, trying to manage his team. Where he's fine with coming in with 3 loners and that, because he knows that he's going to use that extra money for a War Dancer that's developed. So that's going to help him long term, that he wants to bring this team back again and again and again. So in 3 seasons, you're looking at 2 different motivations, really. It's to the point where they're going to protect their higher value players, building a long-term dynasty, where the Reptile Dysfunction right now is where they're confident with what they're doing. They want to get into these playoffs and really make a drive and make their mark. But when it's all said and done, the coach is moving on. They have different plans on that. So it's just one of those where each team's kind of taking a different approach towards how they're approaching the league.
By the way, in the middle of that. Oh, go ahead, Bernie.
Obviously the White Owls I can notice is obviously trying to take out the Skinks. But I'm just wondering, how long is it going to be before he actually leaps a War Dancer in there and makes a play for the ball? Because he can't keep going like this.
Well, if that lizard cage is not moving and they're stalling him, then I think that and with my previous experience having been in a conference with Stu, I previously coached a lizard team in a conference with Stu. I know that Stu will just let this lizard team cage up and sit right where they are and not advance and take shots on the skinks as long as they're exposed. He will be totally content to do that. And he's already stunned Seriously Jesting, and Seriously Jesting will be lucky if he makes it into turn 6, if he continues to hang around on the fringes and have Dilgalio keep taking his tackle swipes at him.
Yeah, I think that Croxico is going to be the main thing. If that Croxico can get going and get himself in the middle of them three, then obviously it's going to be hard for him to leap out and keep doing this column defense.
Well, it's really one of these where I think right now, if the Skinks get collapsed in, then all of a sudden, if there's not that easy target that they've had for the last few blitzes, if there's no easy target, they're gonna take a different approach. But right now, it's really one of those where as long as they can get clean hits on a Skink, I think the Wood Elves will be happy just keeping the Lizards busy and then slapping at the Skinks whenever they get a chance, because it's really one of those where if we're late in the second half and we're looking at a 1-1 tie going into overtime, it really comes down to the point of if you only leave them one Skink left. And speaking of having Skink left, we're gonna have a Skink sent off caught on the foul on that tree.
And this is just as good as having somebody. Well, maybe not just as good because there's a whole satisfaction aspect in the SPP. But I mean, in terms of effectiveness, you can talk about Coach Pong, who is also in the playoffs still with his Leaf Dancers, believes the trees are a waste. But we just saw a tree passively take out a Skink for the rest of the game because the Skink couldn't resist the urge to foul him. And that oak is very, very, very strong, very hard to penetrate. And if anything, it makes a very loud sound when it gets hit. So the ref just couldn't help but blow the whistle.
Yeah, and that was that. It's tough because I was really hoping for the Hail Mary to happen in this game. That player's sent off now, so we're not going to get to see that combination of skills. But at the same point, if that foul would have been effective, I mean, a Skink, a very low level Skink removing such a well developed tree with that extra movement, I mean, that tree is a threat. And it's to the point where the Lizardmen, even with their strength advantage over almost the entire Wood Elf team, they are giving a lot of respect to the Treeman, and it's one of those situations where a Treeman can be a great distraction for a team that's used to being able to bash everyone. So far, they've really targeted their attacks on this tree, and if they're not able to remove the tree and they keep giving this much effort, it's just really going to slow up the entire offense.
Absolutely. And that's what, like Rez said, his tree doesn't even, I think his tree is Fluffy. I don't even think Fluffy throws any blocks. He just stands there and says, "Come at me, bro," and the other teams just throw everybody at him. And in the meantime, the rest of the team's running off with the ball, skirting downfield, laughing around, rubbing their hairy and unwashed armpits in people's faces. It's a disgusting scene, but it works.
Yeah, it's really one of those where different teams have different approaches and goals, really. And it's one of those where a Treeman's goal, his game plan is going to be very different from like a Black Orc or other stronger opponents. A Treeman can really effectively do his job just by simply getting in the way, making hits, because the Treeman with his 10 armor, we've seen fouls, we've seen him jumping on him, we've seen him throw 2-3 people attacking him, but every time they blitz or attack that tree, they're not fouling or blitzing or attacking one of the AV7s. So it's one of those situations where they don't actually have to do it. Oh, and the diving tackle in effect now. So we saw break tackle ability, and the diving tackle takes out the Sorai. So this may have been a little bit of a misstep on by the Lizardman here.
Yeah, the diving tackle is a great skill. People just forget about it. I've won so many games with it.
He was so worried about breaking the tackle that I don't know if he factored in what kind of effect that can have on the strength. I mean, a diving tackle still affects the strength break, right?
Yeah, minus 2.
Correct, yeah. And this is one of those where we saw in one of the previous games that diving tackle on these Wood Elf catchers is a really effective trait where their star catcher is a very non-typical catcher, that he's possessing both the offensive and defensive abilities. So I mean, if a player really or if somebody really looks at him, you look at him and his first skill was movement and wrestle and diving tackle. So he started off very, very defensive, and then the coach noticed that he's doing all the blitzing, all being the star player, getting the touchdowns and stuff, and it's one of the rare opportunities where you see a player with both block and wrestle. So it's just one of those extra utilities that you don't normally see.
Wow, and so Milnor jumps in and does what Milnor does, knocking down, was that most shots he took a hit on? The ball carrier, most shots, and freed up the ball.
I am not happy about that. That's one of those situations where the War Dancer saw an opportunity, quickly came in, and this is one of those where you see War Dancers leveled in different ways, and this is just one of those where it's a real defensive War Dancer. Even if he didn't successfully attack and knock the player down, that ball was coming loose. There's so many options.
By the way, psychological warfare continues with Coach Hezekiah and the Reptile Dysfunction choosing to name two of his players after the announcers that would be announcing his game. So now he's got the announcers on his side. Obviously, we know what he's doing. We kind of resent it in a way, but we can't help but rooting for the players that are named after us.
Well, no, he's always been very open to the different naming conventions and naming players in different ways, and this is just another example of it. I believe it was back possibly season 3 when during the first run of Reptile Dysfunction, I actually had a game against the team, and I believe it ended in a tie. It was just a ferocious battle. I mean, both teams swinging at each other, and it was Chaos versus Lizardman. One of those situations where lots of blocks were thrown. I ended up killing one of his Sorai in the exchange, and in honor of killing the Sorai, he allowed me the honor of actually naming the replacement. I named, of course, the Sorai Velociraptor for his philosophy and different things like that. And then psychological warfare dictated that the player was fired fairly quickly after that. So yeah, the psychological warfare is definitely a real thing with Coach Hezekiah, and he's not afraid to toy with the emotions of the people he's playing against and or the players on his team. So
here's a good question: do you think that most shots beats more shots in a drink off?
No way that he beats me. Simply because look at it, I have the body. I have the body weight advantage on this small creature. There's no way possible. He can't even pick up the ball. His hands are so small.
He can't pick up the ball. You think he can pick up like a bottle of tequila? No.
That's why he has the most shots, because he's not drinking out of the bottle. He has to get them one at a time. That's not effective. Yeah, I can drink 3-4 shots in a single gulp of a bottle. You got to keep serving them up. He's way less efficient, if nothing else.
So which one was the prettiest skink on the pitch?
Most shots, obviously.
Okay, so basically you're saying skanks ain't no match for most shots, for more shots. No, you can name them what they want, but skanks are skanks. Skanks gonna be skanks,
Just the way it is. I don't make the rules. I just live by them.
And this is interesting. The ball is loose. The the wood elves are just surrounding it, making weird woody noises, but they're kind of holding off on picking it up, and it's really possibly creating some opportunities for the Reptile Dysfunction to get it back up and keep this cage going. But they only got 2 turns after to make something happen, so not a good situation for the Reptiles.
Here's the real Wood Elf plan. The Wood Elf plan right now has been very effective. They've kind of scattered the cage out a bit. They've got these skinks kind of in disorder, and now they have clean shots at a few skinks here, and it's to the point where they're gonna get a few real solid hits in, and there we go.
So they lay the Punisher down, but most shots is like
Yeah, there might have been a little bit of bourbon on that ball or something, because he snatched that thing out of air and put it in his mouth, gave it a couple of licks. Yeah, I think somebody sauced that ball up some.
And it looks like Amelas is gonna come in, and he's gonna literally take one for the team and sacrifice himself when the ball bounces loose. And it might be Sorai's in charge now. And Utessa Hicks. Oh, that's actually a pretty badass sounding name when you actually say it. Utessa Hicks says, "Give me the ball, coach. I've been ready all season." Yeah.
And they just opened up a seam up the middle. If they can somehow get a clean block on the lineman marking that Sorai, this Sorai can get up the field within scoring range. And this is one of those situations where you've heard me preach over and over. If they can get a guy in scoring range, they have an opportunity to get that 1-0 lead going into halftime. And that's gonna, we're looking at the skink block being the best situation for them right now. So all hands on deck on this one. Skink block coming through, freeing up the Sorai. So we're seeing a little role reversal here. Who wants some role play? I do.
And Owlz takes a shot at one of the unsung heroes. This guy, his naming convention, again, suggests one of those psychological warfare ploys that Coach Hezekiah is so famous for. But NTB has become a serious contributor to this team. He is a definite, a team leader and a real threat. He gets knocked back by Owlz, but I think that if anybody's can make a difference here as well, NTB is still on that side to kind of seal off that other wide zone and make sure that this guy, Utessa Hicks, gets a good shot, doesn't get as good a shot at the end zone as he would like.
Yeah, it's going to create a tackle zone that they got to go through, but this is really going to be one of those where the Wood Elves are going to have enough players they can move around and really cause some issues. That if the dice work for them, they should be able to get a 2-die block on the ball. But it's going to take a little bit of tricky moves and some good agility to get all the way over there. The difficult thing is that the Sorai are really blocking in the catcher with wrestle, so that's going to take one piece away from possibly getting a clean hit on this ball. So at this point, you're looking at maybe the block lineman may be the best candidate to actually do the blitz. I don't think the war dancer can really get up and get a good clean hit without using the leap ability maybe. But yeah, they've got to try and dislodge that ball if they can. The Skinks have been pretty much kept at midfield, so if they can somehow get the ball on the ground, it's a successful defensive stand.
Not only that, but the Wood Elves have a great ability to dodge. We all know that. It's great. It's wonderful. But when in this case, if they can get multiple Wood Elves tagging that ball carrier, we could be looking at a situation where he's just unable to free himself up and get to the end zone, which is also a win then for the Wood Elves.
Well, I'm gonna caution everybody on this. It's one of those where when you're throwing tackle zones on players, instead of focusing on getting as many tackle zones as you can, start to think about what the response will be of the other player, because there's a lot of situations where a guy will drop 3-4 tackle zones on a player, and if I'm able to position properly, I can many times use those players to chain push my ball carrier further forward than that. So it's one of those with the war dancer with strip ball being the attacker, it's not gonna have that negative effect, but it's one of those where when throwing tackle zones on, definitely think about what the repercussions could be for that.
Right. It's just less likely to happen though when you have a Sorai who doesn't have the agility to actually dodge out. So he can get pushed up, but then there could be a situation where somebody's still in contact, and then he can't really dodge out. But with a reroll, so a 33% dodge with a reroll, that equals out to a little more than 50%, right?
Well, at this point, I think what we're really looking at is the most difficult part of any exchange right now is going to be the pickup for a Sorai, because I can't see any situation where a Skink's going to be able to spring up and get all the way up there to attempt scoring a touchdown. I didn't look at the jump up Skink back up field, but I can't imagine that that's going to be what they're going to be going for.
I agree. I think there's no touchdown. No touchdown. Yeah. You just maybe see Reptile, Dysfunction decide to exact some physical punishment on their foes and go into the second half 0-0, just bank on using the Wizard to free up the ball, regaining control, and then making that push downfield for the 1-0 win.
Was that a clever? You're looking for punishment? Are you looking for something here? Is that what you're saying? Because I like that idea. I would be amendable towards that kind of approach.
I think that's happening, Shots. I think we can pretty much expect somebody's going to get punished heavily in this turn.
You could take that to the bank. So the real question is, where will that attack come from, and how much damage will be done?
True. There's also the question of, because Reptile, I didn't realize Reptile Dysfunction has no rerolls. So maybe that blitz never gets to happen because some preliminary attacks are made that don't quite work out.
Well, the biggest thing that we're looking at. Oh my, good lord! Look at that. Crocs go to work. Too bad he didn't have tackle.
Unable to finish the deal.
Yeah, that's one of those where the tackle skill is one of the more underrated skills that we see in the league. That a lot of the Bashir teams have started to load up on it because of teams like the Wood Elves or the White Owls. Yeah, these beers are starting to work. Yeah, like the White Owls, some of the Skaven teams. We have coaches like Stuff and Junk and NTB that have really shown some of the abilities of the Skaven. That a lot of these coaches really have to take into consideration a lot more. The teams that they're going against, and have to kind of get out of their own way and allow some of the players to do some of the heavy lifting to get away from these skills like tackle or like dodge and stuff like that. So it's less about what your team has to do and what's going to help you, and sometimes it's about actually stopping your opponent. We've seen some high scoring games, and coaches are starting to adjust to that and get a little bit more defensive oriented.
Poor Punisher. Punisher tried to run up, make a statement, grab that ball, knock out a War Dancer, and head to the end zone in a triumphant way. Instead, he saw the War Dancer there, causing him to fumble the ball. So he threw the ball at the War Dancer, and Milnor just caught it like it was dodgeball and laughed at him.
Yeah, I think they should have let the ref probably should have let Punisher finish his action. I don't think he completed the process at that point. He was following up the throw with the ball with a mighty blow attack with his other hand, and if the ref wouldn't have blown the whistle, I have to imagine we would have had a dead War Dancer. I really started to question the ref blowing the whistle so quickly. He should have just choked on the whistle and let the play happen.
I think Milnor did a good job of kind of thespianing for the role, if you will. As soon as he caught the ball, he pointed at Punisher and said, "You're forking out," and the ref blew the whistle. I don't think he had a choice.
Yeah, that's just you never know what these Wood Elves are going to do. It's a situation where I say let the guys play. Figure it out later. There's going to be body parts. We'll sort it out. It's not that big of an issue, but a lot of these elf teams, they don't want to let things escalate to the point where I think the fans really want them.
And with that said, we're entering the second half. I'm getting called away. I do know that Bernie has definitely not been given the opportunity because of our constant back and forth, which I love this banter. But I'm getting called away. I'm going to have to actually break out for the second half. I did have a fill-in for me come in. He's going to be on the sideline. You might recognize him as well. I'll let him introduce himself as we get into the game. But I'll let you and Bernie carry on in the booth, and we'll hear from our sideline reporter, our special celebrity sideline reporter, a little bit later into the broadcast.
All right, sounds good. You be safe out there, man. It's a dangerous land we live in. Hey, Bernie. So what are your takeaways from the first half? I mean, the 0-0 tie. I expected a little bit more scoring, but what was your key plays or takeaways from what you've seen so far?
Yeah, I think the positive for the Lizard team is basically the Skinks got a bit of a beating, but there's still four of them there. I mean, it could have been a lot worse. They could have got a few more injuries, and as we know, with Lizard and teams and no Skinks can always struggle. But I think he's got to get his Crocs to go into it. He's been very reluctant to use the Crocs. There's a few times he could have used them. Punisher was the man of the match for me at the moment. He's seriously put himself about. But it's going to be close. I'm going to call this into overtime. I think it's going to be 1-1.
I think it's a good call. I was actually going to start questioning that a bit. I think it's leading itself really nicely into overtime because that wizard's still on the table. I don't know if it's going to be 1-1 or 0-0. I think if the Wood Elves score quickly, we're going to see a 1-1 going in. I think if the wizard comes out and is effective, I think it's really going to be one of those where we're going to have both teams kind of surrounding the ball, and I think that outcome favors the Lizards. But yeah, right now it's really still quite close. The only thing that I could think that could really be shocking or kind of exciting would be as if the Wood Elves really push the scoring, and I don't think they will, but if they push the scoring, almost immediately to try and get upfield and get like a two-turn touchdown. But I think they're going to be a little bit more patient, and we're seeing already they're still targeting the Skinks, and that's seriously jesting taking another attack. So they are going to.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
the smart thing to do.
and
Take the Skinks out.
so yeah, definitely the game plan for the White Owls is to go skink hunting. They were fairly effective, but did not get the long-term injuries that they were looking for. They got the hits on the skinks. They knocked them down quite a bit, but yeah, the long-lasting effects did not happen. So they're gonna double up on their efforts, continue the blitzes on them, and it's really to the point where the Sorai are going to have to start to do a little bit more defending for their miniature brethren.
Yeah, what's your take on the Crocs girl being on the front line? How do I thought he might have dropped him back, with his prehensive tail, try and mark a few of them up?
Well, I think it's really one of those where they're going strength on strength here, and I'm actually a little surprised that the White Owls are serving up their loners for these free attacks here by changing turns over so quickly. I thought they would make an attempt to actually back the loners out. I know that the loners, as far as re-roll and training aren't the same, but it's one of those where at least if they back them out, it'll save them the hit. Where I think their chances of getting away with that are a little bit better than an attack by one of these Sorai. Speaking of attacks
Yeah,
by Sorai, I'm a little surprised. The Punisher taking a back seat. No blitz on that action. I figured that the Mighty Blow would be a constant presence on this field.
yeah, that's a good shout. I mean, the Punisher did really well in the first half as well, so you would have thought he would have maybe blitzed him, but he might have other plans. Well, I'm sure we'll see in a minute. But I was quite surprised the Tree Man didn't have a go and try and hit the Crocs go down or.
Well, we're hearing more and more from the experienced Wood Elf coaches that the value of the tree is actually greater with him not blocking. If something goes wrong with the tree's block, the backlash of it frees up everybody to run away. Where a standing tree has what a lot of the coaches are saying is it's the invisible tackle skill that a lot of times when they see like line rats and other players trying to get away from the tree, that the tree's tackle ability is just always far superior than a person would anticipate for a player that doesn't have that tackle ability. That there's a little bit of unseen ability on these treemen that really keep the players in contact, and when they try to run, swiftly punishes them.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's doing the right thing here. He's putting pressure on the Wood Elves You can't just let them stand back and just milk the clock. Like I say, you got the Wizard as well, so.
And this is one of those where they did a good job upfield, putting a few players in contact and different stuff like that. It's going to give the White Owls some decisions they can make. I mean, they were a little bit light on. It looks like they're going to use the player to attack. I was going to say they were a little bit light on covering the one lineman. I was actually anticipating them possibly blitzing and freeing that player up. Instead, they're going to continue their skink hunt. That the White Owls aren't satisfied with the results so far. That they're going to continue to pound on the Lizards some. I think this actually may be the Wizard is going to come into play, and my biggest concern would be is if the Wizard happens at an unopportune point for the Wood Elves. The skink and score could happen where the skink swoops in at a ball on the ground, and we could be looking at the Lizardmen really coming back rather quickly in this game.
Yeah, I think it could be pacifist to the War Dance and Milano, and I think that's the reason why he took that skink out.
I could definitely see that response. Blitz already being used does take a few options away. And they're coming over to that side. Looks to be a handoff. Easily handled by the War Dancer. War Dancers are just such a talent to see on the field. War Dancer is now off. They're moving the ball up the field, and this is one of those where the skink mobility is really something that people are aware of. The Sorai ability is something that I think people forget about. That 6 movement on the Sorai really make him a threat at any location. And looks like the catch is good, and it's 1 dodge away from the 2-turn touchdown. Had to use the dodge ability, but we do get the first score of the game. And I can't imagine that it would be anybody else. Their leading scorer and the league's leading scorer in with the touchdown. I see a bit of commotion on the sidelines here for the Wood Elves on that sidelines are really stirred up in that. And actually, I think we have there may be a new person down there. I can't tell. It may be the injured elf. I'm not sure.
Yes, hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we definitely have you there.
Yes,
yeah,
this is the infamous, the very well-known, huge Archibald Jump. I have been recently given permission to come and announce an MML game, my first wonderful, beautiful, great MML game through my contract with the Mucilon Morningstars. Of course, I wrote the contract. It's an ironclad contract because those are the only kind of contracts I write. And I'm over here on this sideline over here with these Wood Elves. I've got to tell you, at first I didn't want to come over here. I heard that they don't use soap. It's kind of stinky. But I got to tell you, this sideline, it doesn't have losers on it. It's got winners. And these guys are over here celebrating like winners. Even this broken guy over here, I don't like standing next to the guys that get hurt, but this guy, Baramithra, whatever his name is, he's laying here. He's all hurt up. He's badly hurt. He's done for the game, but he's optimistic. And I'll tell you what, this guy can work in my office any day. Archibald Drumpf here. Look forward to keep announcing with you guys. Carry on.
Nicely done. Great debut there, Archibald.
Thank you.
Good
Everything
insight.
I do is great. What can I say?
Good insight on that injury, and unfortunately, that loner will not be continuing to work. I know how you like to get people to work, and you will not tolerate somebody being lazy. Somebody that's putting in work
awful.
is the Punisher, and the Punisher coming in for an attack, but not skilled enough to get the tackle ability, and comes up a bit short.
Well, if he had gone to the Drumpf Academy, obviously he would have been able to go online and get a wonderful degree. It would have taught him how to block. He could have blocked from online. He would have never had to left the comfort of his home. We could have also sold the blocking on the sharper image. It would have been wonderful. We would have put it right along our side, our fabulous steak lines that everybody loves. They're great. But he didn't, so he wasn't able to put the skink down. But maybe in between the next play, I'll be able to hook him up with a wonderful scholarship to the Drumpf Academy, and he'll learn how to block properly.
Yeah, there's a great chance here of a cage work. This tree could seriously busted this open. It's bad that the crossbow went bonehead, but I think this tree man could break this cage, bring your war dancer in, strip the ball, and that would be a big step towards the final for the White Owls.
Yeah, and this is one of those where the tree has a couple opportunities here, but he's probably going to need a little bit of help because with the 2 guard pieces on him, it's really kind of hampering his abilities. So we could see the loner step back in and try and give it a little bit of an assist. But even with that, it'll kind of block up some of the attack angles that they may have had. It's kind of a super cage. I'm not sure if the skinks on either corner of the cage are bait or not, but it's really one of those where if they choose not to assault the cage, it's a situation where I think a blitz on one of these cages just kind of lingering on the outside with the tackle pieces is really tempting.
Yeah, I mean his plan from the beginning is to attack the skink, so it wouldn't surprise me if he tries to injure another skink on the side, and it's quite clever that he's using them as bait. But it'd be nice to see him try and break that cage.
And here comes the tackle piece coming in for another attack, and this is seriously jesting. And it appears they're forcing him back into the cage with a successful blitz, and that was a go for it blitz. So. Yeah,
he's been unlucky that he's not injured a few of these skinks. He's certainly been hitting them down. But I don't know what seriously Justin's done to the White Owls because they seem to be giving him special treatment.
Yeah, no, I have to imagine that he came up on the scouting report, and I mean they have definitely been tracking him all over this field. In my current view, we have the 2 big men kind of lined up across the middle of that, and I'm not sure if viewers are actually aware of this. The star catcher is tucked in behind the treeman there. That most people on film can't see him. That we don't have a good camera angle on him. But there is a catcher hiding behind that tree. And the Crocs does us a favor, downs the tree and exposes the catcher for the coward that he is.
Oh no, double skulls. Oh, good.
I don't believe I saw any double skulls out there. That was a figment of your imagination. The extra training comes in immediately and allows this talented Sorai to attack a War Dancer, which I know many of the viewers know. One of our Chaos coaches, Harry Warthog, loves violence against War Dancers. So somewhere he's nestled in a bed, happy as he could ever be, knowing that a War Dancer was violently harmed right now.
Hey, more shots. I'll give you 3 guesses where that Sorai did his extra training.
DeVry?
Wrong.
Orksford?
Wrong. I'll give you a hint. It rhymes with Bump Academy.
With Bump Academy?
Rhymes with Bump Academy.
There's only about 4 or 5 places that could rhyme with that. That's a trick question, isn't it? Is it actually
Absolutely
Bump
not.
Academy?
It is not. It is actually the greatest school in the entire world. They teach you how to block. They teach you how to enjoy the finest caviar. They teach you how to smack your servants around when they get out of line. It's the Drumpf Academy. And you know what else they teach you to do, more shots? They teach you to build a wall. And it's more effective than this little Saurus fake cage that they've got and all. A Drumpf wall will hold off the stoutest of trees. It'll chop the tree down. It'll make a really tall building. It'll put that building to obstruct the view of its greatest opponents, and then that opponent will be so mad and so focused that they can't even get their head together to try to play you in the game, and you'll win just because you have better style, and everybody knows that your opponents even favor you more than they favor their own people.
Now, I don't want to get on a sensitive subject with you here, but your team hasn't done a whole lot of we'll say winning in the recent history. Has that affected your academy at all?
It's not the problem with the team. Is the team didn't follow the fine process that was put into place. There's a very specific manual, very specific, and the team didn't do that. And besides, the whole league was rigged. We all know there's a very corrupt commissioner and coaches board. It's been well documented. The league was rigged, and that's the only reason the team didn't do well.
Well, speaking of not doing well, we're having almost all the skinks slowly be weeded out here. Do you have any advice for the Lizardmen? Because, you know, the armor breaks have been happening turn after turn. No major injuries on the skinks yet, but if this keeps up and this game goes into overtime, they're going to definitely need these players.
My advice is to go immediately to www.archibalddrumpf.com, where you will find out how to win this game. Oh, I've got a plan. I'm not going to tell them the plan, but it's a great plan. It's amazing. If it was me, there'd be an impenetrable wall, and I would definitely make the Wood Elves pay for it. It would not come from our side. We would have spent Wood Elf money in the petty cash to make this wall. Of course, the Reptile Dysfunction, they're not playing according to the Drumpf plan, and that's okay, because their coach is one of the famous coaches board, and we all know that the whole thing is rigged. It's rigged.
Yeah, this is one of those situations where tree goes down, and is this part of a part of this nefarious plan and or corruption that you speak of, that the tree has not been more effective?
Absolutely. Absolutely. This tree is normally one of the best trees. It's so good that it should have been a Christmas tree in front of one of the famous Fifth Avenue buildings, preferably one of the Drumpf buildings. Normally we would use this tree, we would decorate it. All of the little kids would say it's the best tree they've ever seen. It would have all the wonderful ornaments. We would hang skinks from the branches. This would normally happen in a Drumpf world. In this case, for some reason, the tree seems to be laying down, and I have to say again, this is probably the result of something from the coaches board.
Yeah, I think we're going to have a potential skink foul here.
Yeah, I think we have mandatory seriously jesting foul, because other than that, there is a loner in contact of the ball. That cannot be allowed to happen. And bounce house on the... No, that was on the war dancer. So they go for the war dancer, and the second skink off the field, not due to injury, this eagle-eyed ref has caught another skink fouling. So the skinks are safely on the sideline, but this is leaving them with only 3 skinks to go for the rest of this game.
It would never have happened on an Archibald Drumpf team. That would never have happened.
Although the one advantage to this is that it was a successful foul, does stun the war dancer. And the skink hunt continues. Successful attack, but no armor break.
I've got to admit, I'm surprised they didn't stamp on that loner. I can come back to hunt them.
I anticipated the loner attack also, but it's really one of those where they may be geared more towards long-term, expecting to get the touchdown, and already starting to plan for overtime at this point. One thing that they definitely have to keep in mind with this plan, though, is that Wizard's still out there. So the Lizardman team has really been patient so far. Kind of reminds me of Coach Caven in the methodical, slow approach towards charging up the field, not rushing the cage, not overextending the ability, staying in a pretty tight pack. Little surprised, no jump up attack by the loner. I mean, even if the loner failed, it would be one of those where, well, he's only a loner, he can just die. We didn't really actually pay him until after the game, so could have saved him some money.
And that's a big move. The Dodgers failed, so they've got an opening now if they can push it through.
Yeah,
in the meantime, I'm standing over here on the Lizard Man sideline. I'm standing next to Seriously Jesting and Monday of Gold. By the way, Monday of Gold, excellent name. I love the gold. It's a great name. Unfortunately, both of these guys are losers. They're complaining about the ref, and he's blowing his little whistle, and he's causing all kinds of problems for them, sending them to the sideline. And I said, you guys are the losers. Every gentleman knows a gentleman always carries enough money in his pocket to bribe the ref. And so your failure to do that has resulted in you sitting on the sideline instead of making your team successful. If it were me, I would fire you right now. But fortunately for you, I'm not your coach, so they'll live to see another day.
So we're seeing a little cage adjustment here. Speaking of losers, it looks like the failed dodge has opened up the option for this cage to slide over, and it's really setting up nicely for that 1-1 march into overtime that my co-announcer predicted quite early in this half. So definitely making you look good so far. I think Coach Hez is a fan of your 1-1 prediction.
Yeah, I mean the good thing what he's doing as well is he obviously doesn't want to score too early because he doesn't want to give time on the clock. So it's going to be. It's going to be quite an exciting game. Like he still has the Wizard. What's a massive advantage.
And Bernie, by the way, I think you're a genius. If you ever want a job, I'm having a game show. It has to do with me getting free labor for my organization. I'm not a big fan of your name, but I like your work. I do like your name better than the name Sir Hilary of Clinton, a very insubordinate player I had on the Musalon Morning Stars. So got rid of him. He was a real jerk. He was a real loser. But you, I think I could get used to. So if you ever want a job, you come talk to me.
How's he going about Hillary going in jail?
Is that where Sir Hilary of Clinton went? The player wasn't fired. Are you saying that you actually put one of your players in jail? Because as a coach currently, within the penal system, I'm not a huge fan of just randomly putting people in jail.
I'm not going to comment on what happened. I will say that sometimes you have to appoint a special prosecutor to make sure that justice is done. And wherever Sir Hilary of Clinton is now, I'm sure it's a better place, but it's not one that concerns me or you anymore. Let's stop asking questions about it.
The rumor I heard was he leaked your game plan by email to certain colleagues.
I know that Sir Hilary was definitely doing. Yes, absolutely. People are saying, I'm not saying, but people are saying that Sir Hilary went and leaked certain emails to a certain friend with a certain who liked to show off his certain body part to certain people, and then that friend went and told other people like Russia, which still exists in this Warhammer world, and as a result, maybe a special prosecutor put Sir Hilary in jail, but that's not something I know anything about.
Well, something I know something about is we've just had a cage attack by a war dancer, and this is going to lead to a strip ball, and this is a technical maneuver strip ball, not the other kind of strip ball.
Well,
strip
normally
ball
a fan
attack
of
on a
stripping
skink.
and grabbing him in the ghoulie, but in this case, again, if these people had just listened to Archibald and our technique, or patented technique of forming a wall and making the other team pay for it, none of this, they wouldn't have been stripped, they wouldn't have been grabbed in the ghoulie. Instead now we have balls laying all over the place, and the balls should be carefully placed in the proper place, not wherever the other team feels like it.
And it appears that the Wood Elves are putting it wherever they feel like it. They have just acquired the ball and immediately done a quick slip on their home field. Grass looked a bit wet over on that side. Either that or there was some Sorai feces that may have been excreted after the cage dive from the war dancer. Sorai have certain natural reactions when startled. Unfortunately, defecation sometimes is one of them.
Is this the time for the Wizard?
It may have to be. They're going for the full-length pass. Sorai interception. This is something that we've seen over and over and over again in the MML playoffs and postseason. The Sorai is just always seem to respond. I would have to say that the Sorai interception is a trademark almost of the MML postseason. For some reason, they just find a way to make it happen.
I would like to formally claim you Tech Chicks as a honorary member of the Archibald Jump Academy. This is where he learned his interception skills. We have a particular course specifically called Sorai Interceptions at the Jump Academy. So this is just, it makes us very proud, very proud. We're validated. We feel like our school is excellent, and I couldn't be happier.
So I have to imagine with now having a Sorai with the ball that the cage diving days may be over for the war dancer at this point. I can't imagine that there's a lot of cage diving going on with a Sorai hanging onto the ball. Not a good odd. Not good odds with that particular player being there. The opposite end of it would be with having the strip ball will help it, but yeah, it just really feels like a bad situation.
He needs to get. Well, that's a bit of a mistake. He needed to get the skink in there. He skink into the cage, and they could have handed it off to the skink. That would have been a probably safer bet than what he's just done.
Yeah, I have to imagine it would have been a pretty good call. I think they're still seeing blood red from that war dancer, knowing that they fouled him earlier, and he seems to keep coming back and gumming up the works. This is a Wood Elf team currently running with just the one war dancer, and it's this much of a headache. Imagine next season when they're back to full strength with two.
Hey guys, I'm making my way back into the booth now. Where is my special leather armchair and the caviar? Where are the servants with the caviar? I don't see them anywhere.
Yeah, due to budget cuts and the fact that we ate it all, we don't have those. Sorry.
This is unacceptable. How do you not have servants or caviar in the booth? All right, I guess I'll have to make do. I just first like to answer Preach Gamer's question in the chat. He wants to know whether there are any orc courses at the Drum Academy, and I say, of course there are, but unfortunately they're in temporary freeze. The orc courses were primarily in the physical education department because our orc friends don't tend to specialize in non-physical things. Unfortunately, our primary physical education instructor was recently killed in a match. You may know him. His name was Leroy Jenkins, and he used to teach physical education. Unfortunately, he's not around, so we'll be looking for a new guy to fill in. We heard there's a promising young goblin that's a lot stronger than he looks, and maybe we'll look into that.
This is this is an interesting play right now that the Sorai has gone under attack and the ball is back on the ground. It's a bit to the 12th hour for the Lizardmen that they have to find a way to get this ball and get it scored, and they may not get an opportunity. Slick and Dirty appears to have acquired the ball and is looking to get a second touchdown for the White Owls. White Owls looking to punch their ticket, and with a second touchdown, it would clearly put them into the finals.
And this is what I've been saying. With these slick and dirty wood elves, you build a wall. If you don't build a proper wall, they'll burrow their way underneath it or climb their way over it and bring all of their friends in, and the next thing you know, you've got touchdowns being run out. You're out of the playoffs. You're no longer the most powerful team in the MML. And this is what I've been preaching at the Drum Academy. This weak wall would have never have happened, but unfortunately now we're sitting here watching dirty, greasy, rapist, thieving. I'm sure some of them are good people, but basically wood elves coming in here and taking over the country. A game, I mean.
So. Yeah, it's difficult to really move on from what you've just said there. You're kind of casting a real bad light upon the Wood Elves that are looking towards a definitive 2-0 victory against the Lizardmen. I don't know if the viewers are really going to be comfortable with that. I mean, the Wood Elves do have a right to be to be part of the league and really represent their race with pride in the finals. It looks to be.
Well, this is the problem here, Morshatz, is that we now have a score of 2-0. And are any of those 2 points being held by the working class lizards that went out of their way to acquire the points? I mean, they held onto the ball. They're blue collar, obviously. Look at their collars. They're blue. They've worked hard the entire match. They put in the work. They just wanted the work, the payment that they were due in the form of a score. And instead, these dirty, greasy, rapist Wood Elves that I'm sure some of them are good people, but some of them are also fat, and they don't even speak the language that we all speak. But they come in here and they take our job scores, they take our scores that we put our blue collar work into, and next thing you know, it's not even a fun game anymore. It's 2-0. It's completely out of hand, and this isn't fun for anyone. Under my MML, this would never be the way it is, but unfortunately, the corrupt commissioner and this corrupt coaches board has rigged the MML, and now it's infested. It's infested with the dirty greaser Wood Elves.
Is it actually true? I mean, I was speaking to Lord Hillary. He was saying that the reason you don't like the Elves is because they gangbanged your wife.
Hillary is a dirty, crooked knight, and you can't believe anything Sir Hillary of Clinton says. Instead, you just have to listen to what I'm saying. This whole thing is rigged, okay? And those Wood Elves, in the words of a very, very smart man, Dr. Incubus 1379, the Wood Elves are some bad hombres, okay? You can't listen to any of their propaganda and the whole Wood Elf liberal media, okay? This is not, you just listen to me and what I'm saying here. I've been telling the truth. I tell the truth. I'm so good at it. I've been doing this for years. You can trust me.
So these photos of your wife getting done by 3 Wood Elves, what you just emailed me, is not true then?
Absolutely not true. My wife is a stand-up human being. No, she would never, ever sully her race. I mean, stoop to the level of messing around with these dirty, greasy Wood Elves. That's just Sir Hillary propaganda.
So she didn't go to him to get more wood then?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Is it also true that the reason you want the Wood Elves to obviously build your wall is because you're actually bankrupt?
I banged the Wood Elves?
No, that you're actually bankrupt.
I don't understand. In the past, I've used Wood Elves to build walls because they're hard workers, and it was also a lot cheaper labor, and also because I'm smart, and who wouldn't do it? But that's only because Sir Hillary and his policies allowed me to do it.
So something that somebody's been allowed to do. I'm not sure, but I believe that we just had a third skink get sent off on a turn 16 foul. And that would be 3 expulsions, and that I believe that is the postseason record. So the Reptile Dysfunction looked to have lost the game, but collected a record in the process. Do they have any fouling courses in your school of online Blood Bowl technologies?
Only when it benefits us. Otherwise, we'll say it's rigged. We'll say fouling is rigged. But when it goes for us, fouling is okay. It's great. It's great, and it's also horrible and terrible. But I'll tell you when what is what.
Well, that's certainly good.
Actually, this whole thing is rigged. I'm going to step out. I've put my friend, my good buddy, Serious Jest, back in charge, and you guys can deal with him. I'm going to take off, go fly around in my gyrocopter, and do rich things that you can only dream of. Thank you very much. Archibald Drumpf out.
Wow, that guy is something else. I'm kind of jealous. He's got a gyrocopter. Who can afford one of those things? I thought those things were fake for the longest time. That's the first time I've ever seen one.
What's up, guys? Serious Jess. I am not affiliated with that guy in any way. I'll be honest. He paid me $200K just to let him take over the second half of the broadcast. Thought it would be good for him. You're right, Shots. Most players expelled, but it tied the record. It's 3. So this would be a tied record.
Do you happen to remember who was the first person to set that in the postseason?
The coach was Eddie, and it was the Eddie 202. It was the Orcs of Rome, and they played a former MML champ who was not a champ at the time, Los Pumas, in the season 2 McMurdy's Bowl. That was that was early on, and that if I remember, that was a particularly violent game. Yeah. Absolutely. So 3 passes caught is too short of the record set by Dignity versus the White Owls last season in the playoffs round 1. So they had 5 catches then. So that's not a record. 1 interception in the postseason is a record, I think, but I don't see
it's going to tie a record. There's been so many postseason, and I would almost venture to guess that half of those were Sorai. I can recall almost every time a Lizardman team seems to play in the postseason, they at least get an interception at some point.
I can't even be mad at this, but yeah, it's been tied now. So this is the 4th time an interception has been caught in the postseason of the MML, and 3 of the 4 times it has been a Sorai.
Yeah, exactly.
The first one was Don Eagle's Leaping Lizard in the Orchidas Bowl season 2. In season 3, the Cold Hard Truth in the season 3 playoffs round 1, and now this year.
So yeah, it's just one of those where if you're looking to get an interception in the postseason, you know. You just bring a Sorai with you. Or if you're looking to not fall for that, just like if you're playing against Lizardmen, don't pass. The Sorai are ball hawks.
They're better than the legendary Richard Sherman, who we've heard of in the olden times.
Well, they're better than Eccentric, which we've heard in the present times, known for his intercepting ability. That I would venture to guess that may have been the other player to get an interception in the postseason. I believe that was last season. Dignity would have had an interception, I believe.
In the championship game, absolutely. That was when that almost cost Los Pumas the championship match, but they managed to recover against it. But yeah, I think we're coining a new phrase here: is don't get put on Saurus Island, basically.
Yeah, Saurus Island is a real thing.
So another excellent, exciting MML match. I think we've got after this one now we've got one match left in the semifinals, and then we're off to the championship, huh?
Yeah, we've got the Wrecking Crew going up against another Wood Elf team, I believe, over there. We just saw the White Owls. I believe it's the Leaf Dancers on the opposite side, isn't it?
Yep. Yes. So what we saw was the Lizard team tried to methodically go downfield on the White Owls and kind of systematically just bash them to death, and it didn't work. They were not able to execute the attrition that they wanted to. The Wrecking Crew is a bit of a different team. They really are built to bash. So who knows how that match will go. Definitely in this case, the White Owls had a lot of players left at the end.
The real letdown, I think, is that the Wizard got blue-balled. He got sent home early. I don't recall seeing a lightning bolt or a fireball or even even sparklers or one of them smoke snakes or any of that kind of stuff. Like he got sent home like a clown that showed up drunk.
Wasted money, and that's I do think I've said this before. I think Wood Elves are a great matchup against Lizards because of the cage penetrating ability, and unless you have a special skink that has sure hands, which is uncommon among skinks, then a War Dancer that just jumps in there can free you of that ball. You can do the same thing to a Saurus. So Wood Elves against Lizards not a great matchup. However, you will see, and I think the Wrecking Crew has a player that is sure of hands to carry the ball. So I think you may not see the same kind of...
I have some breaking news. Coach Hezekiah, 87, he's already started publishing propaganda for his new Necro team, the Necrophilia. He's broadcasting already that they will be Season 6 MML champs. That he's marking it down. That is their team motto. So he's calling a shot. He's a la Babe Ruth. He's pointing to the to the left field wall. He's calling a shot. He's saying that Necro will take the league by storm, both of those, Storm and Storm, and become champions in their inaugural season.
Wow. So do we have Coach Hezekiah in the chat ready to talk?
I haven't heard either coach chime in. It
not
appears
ready to
that
talk, but I'm here.
after striking his demands across the tablet and putting his money on the line, he do you have anything to say about the shocking news that a Necro team is already calling their shot for a season that hasn't started yet?
Just trying to have a little optimism.
I think that's more than a little optimism. That's something that we haven't seen. A fresh team come in and go all the way to the into the championship. That hasn't been seen since the Cold Hard Truth in season 2.
Is part of the throwing that up there now kind of the are you upset with your team right now?
No, I'm not upset with my team. I'm mad at myself.
Well, so where do you think that you may have made the mistakes?
I played awful.
Oh, I'm not sure about that.
No, I did.
Where do you think you went wrong?
Just every turn. I held onto the wizard for too long. I should have used the wizard. I forgot about the guy. I forgot about the catcher down there for this turn. The score, the second touchdown. Like, I just forgot that he was down there because I'm stupid. And then I chose the wrong Saurus to make the interception, and of course he makes the interception as in terrible position. Excuse me, I burped. And I do nothing to get him out of that position. Just let him sit there and get hit, and then they score a touchdown. And I had a wizard. I could have just used the wizard to blast the War Dancer and maybe tried to hurt him or something, but I didn't. I just didn't do anything right. And Stu did everything right. He did a fantastic job.
Well, I think the wounds are still fresh with you. I think I was seeing the game in a different cadence and pace. I felt that both drives really had a feel of Caven and the Wrecking Crew, that they felt very much in control for the most part, and they came off the rails maybe a bit towards the end of them. But
I felt good both drives, and then all of a sudden it was just awful. And then I was getting no injuries. I got the very first injury on the very first block of the game and thought, oh, this is going to be a great game, and I got no more after that. I fouled. I don't know how many times I fouled. I got sent off 3 times, no injuries. Of course, most of those fouls are on the tree, so you don't expect to get injuries. But it was not a great game all around for the Dysfunction. But that's okay. Maybe they were mad at me because they knew they were getting retired.
Did you come in 12 players?
Yeah.
Do you think that maybe going that foul heavy though may have been a tactical mistake in hindsight?
Well, no. The first foul, the first time I got sent off, I stopped fouling for a little while, and then the second foul I had, the War Dancer. You all said there was a loner right next to him, but the War Dancer had strip ball. I was more worried about the War Dancer leaping in and hitting him, so I fouled the War Dancer. It was kind of just like I have to do this. I have the opportunity right now. And then the last foul was just the last. I mean, I just fouled a loner to end the game just for a little fun. And those are the 3 I got sent off on. I stopped once I lost the first one. I kind of dialed it back on the fouling, and I was gonna fireball my own logo, but I got sent off. So I couldn't.
I thought this score was a little bit rough on you. That I thought you coached a solid game, and yeah, it's tough with Wood Elves.
Yeah, I don't have any tackle on my team. No tackle whatsoever. It makes it difficult.
It's tough, and I mean we've all seen the White Owls. They've been around for a few seasons, and they're a well coached team, and it's tough to stop Wood Elves. It's one of those where, like I said, I felt like both drives that you had going, it really felt like you were in control, and it was just one of those where the Wood Elves were playing solid defense and made it tough on you. The closer that you got, they tightened up and chose their attacking points really well. That I wouldn't envy any team trying to go up against them and really play the control game that you did. It's just one of those where one dice here or there, and we have a bit of a different result. But I thought you fought all the way through.
I had an opportunity, I think, on like turn 13 or 14 to score with 2 go for it's that I thought about taking, but I didn't.
Yeah,
thinking I could, and it was just a mistake. That's the strategy I always use, and it usually works. This time it just didn't work out. Stu was too good.
Well, I think the key block of the entire game was there was a block on the word answer to really clear up that path up the middle, and it was just a push and it sidestepped and it really gummed up the rest of that turn.
Yeah.
That I think that was that was the moment where before then you had a solid cage, things kind of fell apart, and that was the one block where I kind of went. Yeah, that's one block where if the word answer goes down, it changes the shape of those last few turns. But no, I felt much like Byrne that it was one of those where it felt like a game that was marching towards overtime, and it was just one of those where the Wood Elves found a way to really to make a play and collect the ball, and it's a tough way to go out of the season, but I know that you're looking forward to your new team and coming in. I think that for you've been anticipating them showing up for a while and have embraced the Necro teams like no other coach has stepped up forward to do so, and it kind of reminds me of Coach Rez last season coming in with the Undead when everybody else was a bit unsure of them and that. So I wish you luck coming into the next season.
Yeah, but the difference is my team will make the playoffs and I won't switch back to the other team at the end of the season.
Well, no, actually, your team's supposed to win the championship.
They will.
I've seen this. So
just watch.
I'm looking forward to seeing werewolves hanging onto trophies, flesh golems celebrating on parade routes.
I have a zombie named Amy Winehouse on my team. There's no way I'm gonna lose.
And so my parting question for you, Coach Hez, is that you've tasted some of the White Owl's tree sap. We're now going to be facing the last game in this round as the Leaf Dancers versus Wrecking Crew. Who are you calling there? The Wood Elf team over there, or the Orcs for the win?
I don't want to see another Wood Elf win a game the rest of my life. I'm going to root for the Orcs.
What do you think? Who takes the MML championship?
I got to go with the Crew. They've done it before. They know where they've been.
Yeah, it's a solid gamble. The Crew, Coach Caven's a steely veteran in that, and it's tough to get them flustered in that. I really felt like the dysfunction in this game, like I've said a couple of times already, I felt like they really showed up like the Crew, and it was only in those last couple of turns where the Wood Elves really took a little bit more risk that it came off the rails. But yeah, no, I think if the Crew can coach the way that they have been, if the Wood Elves allow it, then I think the Crew will definitely have that opportunity. But I think if the scouting department for the Leaf Dancers does a good job, they're going to have to find a way to rattle the Crew, and I'm not sure that that's actually something that can be done. So. Yeah, the Crew are marching towards it, but the aggressive scoring that these Wood Elves can do may cause them some issues. But yeah, if Wood Elves allow the Crew to play their game, not many teams can withstand that kind of a brunt force attack.
You in the chat available or?
Yeah, I'm still there.
All right, so. My man, moving on to the finals, the MML finals, and you just joined the MML mid-season in season 3. So I mean, this is 2 seasons, not even 2 full seasons later. Well, yeah. So So about 5, and you're in the finals. How does it feel?
It feels good. I mean, people always underestimate my Wood Owls, my Wood Elf, the White Owls, because they always think they're so injured, but I like having those journeymen. They're just.
You came in
good.
with how many journeymen?
I usually come in with 3. That was my number, my magic number this season.
Right, so this whole argument that, you know, AV7 teams and Wood Elves and stuff, that we need to worry about them or make special consideration is kind of bogus, right? You do really well with 3 journeymen, no problem.
Well, it's a real gamble. I mean, 3 journeymen, they're just there to take hits. So, I mean, they're there to take the hits. That's it. If the guy that I'm playing against managed to put good hits on my key players and injure them, then yeah, I get screwed real fast. I mean, I have maybe four key players on my team, and if those 4 go down, I'm screwed. And armor 7 is easy to put a guy down.
True.
But yeah,
but, you know, dangerous team no matter what.
Well, that's
Who
for
are
sure.
you hoping
I mean,
for as a winner to go to the finals and face you?
I'm looking at it and I have really no clue. The reason is, versus the Leaf Dancers, my tree, which does an awesome work on defense, is going to be completely useless. I mean, he's just going to be a branch sitting on the field doing nothing except trying to maybe put a tackle zone on an elf here and there. So he's going to be useless versus the Leaf Dancer. But then on the other hand,
chance you fire him if you draw the Leaf Dancers?
Never. That tree is gonna stay with me until he loses his movement. I mean, you can hit him as much as you want, he just gets back up. And in the division that I'm in with those dwarfs, the lizards, and I mean, I need the tree. He's the key position on my defense, so I need him.
Good call. So, what do you think went right for you in this game?
Pretty much everything. I used 2 rerolls in the whole game, I think. So, all my
Was that
rolls
just good
went
dice,
well.
or do you think you stayed away from, like, your column defense seemed to put you in a position where you forced the reptiles to make most of the rolls rather than yourself, right?
Well, that's the point. I mean, when I'm on defense, I have to play my positioning. I have to put the key players in front that have blodge because they're the ones that are less likely to get hit. And he had no tackle, so that was really, really good for me. So it's just that I have to dodge out, reposition, and give them 1, maybe 2 hits a turn until they fail something or they give me an opening, which he pretty much didn't give me a single opening in the first half. It was really hard. I could have leaped a couple of times, but I would have got a 1 dice and no one to recover the ball, so it was kind of useless. And I had no one far enough downfield to be a scoring threat, so there was no way I was going to steal, because with the wizard in hand, I had to steal and score in the same turn. Otherwise, it was just putting my war dancer in danger for nothing.
Right. But you managed to get that final score at the end of the first half, and that lucked out, for that's changed the course of the game.
Well, that's for sure. It was really... I got lucky on some dice. I managed to strip the ball off. The bounces were not really good for me, though. They were always falling in good positions for him. And at one point, I had to take a chance and pick up the ball, which I got lucky on that pickup. Well, Wood Elves is always the same thing. You hope not to get a 1 or a 2, and then everything goes perfectly.
True that, true that. So, well, that's all the questions I got for you, Stu. Shots, Bernie, anything?
Yeah, just a quick one for me. What was going through your head when you saw that Saurus launch himself in the air and get that interception? You couldn't have seen that one coming.
Well, I was thinking about it. I mean, it was going through half of the players on field. The pass was just going over everyone. And I was just thinking, whatever happens, if I keep the ball in my hands, he's gonna pick up that ball first thing in his turn, because it's a strength 2 player with no block. So he's just gonna put him on the floor really easy. So I was just thinking, well, might as well do the pass and happens what happens. He intercepted. I was really happy that it was that one because he had 2 players on him. But again, I don't know. I was just going all for everything because I had no other options at that point.
Yeah,
Just
no,
a quick one.
yep,
If
good.
that's if I can just chime in there, I just want to congratulate you on a great defensive performance. I thought your defense was fantastic. Obviously, I've been listening to what you're saying, obviously, about if the other L team gets through, your tree man will be useless. But are you not concerned maybe that the York team, if they do get through, they'll just put a lineman on your tree man and just keep him stuck for the entire game?
Well, if it's a lineman, it's a lineman. It's gonna. The thing is, when I'm on defense, the tree is usually one of the first players on the column, and with stand firm, even if they put him on the floor, they're not gonna put him. Obviously, if he plays a different type of offense that orcs usually do, then we'll see. My tree might be useless because, like you say, he's gonna be stuck to a lineman or to whatever. But if he's on a lineman, he's on a lineman, and that guy's not gonna get out.
Yeah, it's just I'm just thinking because obviously it's a good thing. Because obviously, what's an Oakland worth 50,000 against 120,000 tree man. I just thought that what worked for you well obviously in this semi final is obviously he went with a Crocs ago and he had two Soros. He had like 3 plays target for a long time, what obviously helped you. I'm just thinking you're concerned maybe if the York team or the other L team gets through that they can obviously take out your tree man who had a good game in this one. That's a concern that could happen.
Again, if the treat gets 1 or 2 players on him, his job is done. I mean, he's not there to hit. He's not there to do anything else than take hits, and that way my other guys don't get hit. That's his only job. And with movement 3, he gets back up as soon as you put him down. So he's just there to take hits. And I think that's the main concern of a tree. You don't buy a tree to be a star player. You just want him to take hits.
Yeah, of course. I'm just thinking. I think obviously in this game, obviously you got to be fortunate that he put so many resources into taking your tree out. Where I'm just thinking maybe in the next game they might just obviously put one on. Then obviously you would also got to deal with this. I mean, I've never seen this team play, but the reputation is they're a bit of a bashy team and they're very nasty. I confident you would else, especially if you lost your war dancer who had a brilliant game. I confident that you'd be able to still get the ball from a cage without your tree man.
Well, it's gonna depend of the dice. I mean, Caven, I played him a couple of times lately. He's a really good tactician. He's gonna put his players at the right place all the time. I'm probably gonna have even less options to strike the ball as I had in this game. But the good news is versus him, I'm gonna have some inducements. So I'm gonna be wishing that I'll have enough for a wizard, and then we'll see from there. I mean, if he injures my players in the first couple of turns, well, he's gonna win the game. And if he doesn't injure my players, I'm probably gonna get a good shot on the game. So that's how Wood Elves roll. I think all goes down in the first 4 or 5 turns.
Yeah, absolutely agree with that. Thanks for answering the question.
Wanted to. You could buy a War Dancer for the finals.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen. I know that
So-
your concern is saying that I should play for it right now and think about winning this season, but I'm just enjoying the time that I'm playing in the playoffs, and I'm really just thinking of next season. If I win it, I win it. I'm going to be really happy. If I lose, well, I'm just going to buy my War Dancer that I'm looking at, and that's it. I mean, I need to keep my money to buy the awesome star player that I want.
Yeah, I think I'm going to close the market right now. I don't think I like that idea of letting that player in. No, it's one of those where I think that it's part of the charm and approach towards this league to actually go without buying the immediate player, and that I also I went over half the season with 1 Chaos Warrior short, knowing that instead of spending the money early, I could get the player that would actually help my team long term later. So yeah, seeing you limp through the playoffs with 1 War Dancer really goes to show your commitment to this Wood Elf team, and I can I think it's going to make the team better in the future, and it'll really add something. So it's difficult to fight through at this time, but I think long term you're going to be happy with your decision. So I commend you on that.
And I don't want to I don't want to beat the dead horse shots, but your situation totally different. I mean, I was in your situation with TMNL when I was like, okay, I'm pretty much not in playoff contention anymore, and I'm gonna go, or it's a long shot. So I'm not going to throw all of my resources into this season when I have the opportunity to be really great next season, right? So I'll save my money. But somebody who's running up on the finals.
No, I disagree. I had lost one game at that point.
Oh, when you decided to save, you decided no more Chaos Warrior for the rest of the season with one loss.
Yes, I was at one loss when I made that choice.
And again, to defend my point, I mean, what's that additional War Dancer going to give me more than I already have? A leap player that has a 60% chance of leaping in a cage without strip ball? I mean, it's pretty much a useless call, so...
He's also a blodger.
Hey, I'm gonna wrap it up, guys. I'm gonna shut the stream down, so...
Oh.
Yeah.
I gotta get out of here.
Okay,
all right.
well...
No, it was a great game.
Good game, Stu. Great game. No, I'll just...
All right, fellas.
Hez ready to go farm.
Did not upload a couple of the other games.
Oh, I'm a slacker.
We don't want to lose it.
Okay.
MML playoffs. All right, fellas. Have a good one. MML. MMLpro.com. Check it out.